Alright guys, so here we are for the finale of the esports qualification here for the Japanese Grand Prix, and as you can see, getting into qualifying, loading my setup as always, and this is definitely one of my favourite tracks on the game, along with Silverstone, Spa and probably Kota as well. And I did quite a bit of practice, maybe not as much as I did for Bahrain and China, but I was feeling really good around here, and the setup I had felt really good as well, so I was definitely hoping for at least a top 5, and I was hoping to nail qualifying, possibly get on the podium here today. At this time I think I was tied 7th in the standings, so it was very unlikely I would go to London unless I won the race, maybe with others having a bad race as well. But getting into the qualifying lap here, opening the DRS as early as you can, heading towards turn 1 here at Suzuka, which is flat in the 2017 cars, before braking into turn 2, shifting down to 4th. This is very early on in the session, so the track does improve in terms of its condition by the end of the session, so I knew my second lap would most probably be quicker, so I was just seeing what I could do with this lap and where it would put me, and hopefully to get a good banker down in case I mess up the second lap. So the first sector has been really good, I haven't really messed it up at all. Flat out through there in 8th gear before braking down to 4th gear. Try not to get onto that curb in the exit because it will give you bad traction. Now heading into the hairpin where AOR season 13 I took out GR Demon, and that was quite a funny moment in the YouTube stream, I believe, for this race, which I'll leave a link down in the description below too, because I believe GR Demon actually said that Ollie around Suzuka will probably take someone out into the hairpin. But anyway, this qualifying lap has, well, I think Spoon wasn't really taken too well there, but it's not been a bad lap for a first attempt, and I was just waiting to see what I could do on the second attempt. But heading down the back straight into the famous 130R, flat out in 8th gear, no lifting at all, brake at the 100-meter board for the chicane in 3rd gear, hit the apex nicely, get good traction, short shifting up to 4th gear, now 5th, and DRS as you can across the line, and we go P1 with that, and I believe I was the second person to set a lap time. So getting into my second run now, where I needed to improve, because you can see I'm in P9 at the moment, and I actually think maybe the leaderboard was messing up, because it always seems to mess up at the moment on this game. But you can see heading through turn 1 I messed that up really badly, and you can see I've already lost 2/10, so I was pretty desperate at this stage to make up time as quickly as possible, and it just got messy really. My first sector hasn't been great, I'm still 2/10 down on my delta, so got to take risks in order to get a reward on this lap. So heading through this corner here, I just turned in too early, and that's an invalidated lap time, and that's my qualifying over. So at best it was going to be P9, I believe, although it said P13 on there, but that's just the leaderboard messing up because of a glitch on the game. But P9 it is, and once again I'm in the thick of the action heading towards turn 1. I believe that's actually my best qualifying in this series, but I felt I had another 3/10 in me, maybe more, to get in the top 5. But anyway, getting into the race, and you would have seen earlier that it's going to rain, so starting on the intermediate tyres, and it's going to be dry later on in the race, so I was planning to go intermediates to mediums to get to the end and do a one stop. But anyway, getting into the race now, starting behind Alberto and Alex, two people who are in the running for London. But anyway, 5 red lights and away we go, and it's a decent launch I believe, although Alberto's definitely got a better one. We're still ahead of Marco Ganu, although Alberto actually backs out of that, and we go round the outside of him, taking it nice and cautiously through turn 1, actually running a bit wide and getting on the grass. Still round the outside of Alberto, squeezes us a little bit, and we get onto the curb there and get a massive step of oversteer, and we're now down into P13, and that is not where I wanted to be. For some reason the footage skips there, but anyway, you can see, yeah, Floris Widgers, if that's how you pronounce it, got involved in a collision, and I got involved in his incident by, I tried to take evasive action but I couldn't in time, and my front wing got caught, and that was me into the gravel. So we are in P16, and once again we're going to have to fight through from the back, and I can't tell you how annoyed I was at this stage, because I knew I had the pace to maybe be on the podium today, and you can also see how quickly I've already caught up to the back of the field, just showing how good the pace was around here in all conditions really. So it was very frustrating. That makes all 3 races having to fight through from pretty much the back. So still on lap 1 at the moment. Shelley goes a tiny bit wide there. We're going to try and get around the outside of him but that's never really going to happen to Spoon, and let's see what we can do on the back straight. But yeah, qualifying low down is once again hurting my chances in the esports series, but it's something I'll have to resolve for AOR Season 14. But you can see there Shelly has once again let me through, so that's, I believe, China and Japan he's let me through. I don't know whether he had damage or anything like that, but it's very kind of him to do that. And we are now behind the Ferrari of Gemzo, as the leaders are already heading towards turn 1, and I realised, yeah, like they've got a whole length of straight on me right now, so my chances of a podium are gone. And you can see going for a move on Gemzo, and he was pretty aggressive there in defence down the straight, and we are not able to make a move so far. Getting as close as possible to the back of him, trying to get a possible run on him here, but that's not going to happen at the moment, as still on lap 2, and you can see there's a car off. And who was that? That was just Low Oller, if that's how I pronounced it correctly. But anyway, fastest laps all the time, obviously, because it's lap 2, and getting down onto the back straight, well, onto the home straight now, lap 4, and going for a move once again on Gemzo, being pretty aggressive in his defence. We're going to try and get up the inside into turn number 2, making a tiny bit of contact there, and the more I couldn't get past him, the higher my levels of frustration were, and I was getting a bit desperate now, because I knew when I had fresh air or clear air I'd have the pace. But you can see J-Thorn there in the Mercedes was off, and we've almost lost the car as well there, lucky not to spin as well. And yeah, it is still P13, well, we are now up into P13 because of J-Thorn going off. But once again Gemzo defending, we're going to have to weave to try and get past him. He's lagging a little bit as well, and still on lap 6 now, we're still not able to get through. Couldn't we get a possible run on him here? No, we can't. So yeah, into the middle sector now of lap 6. He defends the hairpin. We're going to try and go around the outside, which is a move which you're never really going to pull off unless you're some kind of genius in these conditions. But anyway, he was being pretty aggressive with me here, so I'm going to have to be aggressive with him to get past, else there was no way to get past. So going up the inside into Spoon, making a bit of contact with him, forcing him wide. But yeah, if he's weaving like that in a straight line, I need to make a move and get past and get on with my race, because I know I'm quicker. So next up is the Renault of Timidir, if that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, Gemzo is right behind me down the straight. He's not going to be able to pass me into 130Rs. We almost lose it there, and that was almost our race over, but luckily we keep it on the track, and it's P12 out of 15. I think there was 3 people who didn't race today for a variety of different reasons. But anyway, new personal best, lap of the race, onto lap 8, heading towards turn 1, getting up the inside of the Renault here into turn 1. That's us through into P11, and next up is Big C, who at this stage was 3rd in the championship, which means he would have been going to London, and he needed a good result today. So you can see heading through the first sector just how much we are catching up on him through these corners. Just look at that, we've halved the gap so far this sector. And my brother, who was watching the race both on the stream and using the telemetry, said that when I had clear air I was actually the quickest car on track. So that really does increase my frustration levels about how these incidents put me so far down, and I need to get a bit of luck next year when I take part in this in order to go to London. But you can see getting onto the medium tyres here on lap 10 as it is dry enough, and we've actually managed to gain from that pit stop, because we are now right out behind Alex, who is in the running for London. We're now ahead of Marco Ganu, and I also believe we jumped to Big C as well. So onto the medium tyres, 17 laps on these tyres should be pretty easy to do, but you can see the people around me are all on softs. So with that, I thought we're going to easily be able to get to the end, and they're going to have to pit again. So I was thinking, actually, my race isn't over here, and I thought we could possibly squeeze a top 5 finish if we can. But in these conditions, it's pretty tough to drive. I don't believe Alex is the best in the wet conditions, but it's getting dry, and I believe he also said he doesn't like this track as well. So we're going to try and stick to the back of him and see where we can go, and maybe make a possible move on him, because he is on the quicker tyres. So to be able to stick to the back of him in the dirty air, it's definitely a good sign as well. So Marco Ganu is right behind us as well. We don't want to let him past here on lap 14, but purple through sector 1, so that was the fastest sector 1 of the race, but that's purely because the conditions are improving. As now on to lap 16, another personal best lap of the race. Using the DRS, can we possibly make an overtake here on Alex into turn number 1? No, we can't, too far back for the moment. But anyway, P9 it is, and at this stage I was going to be happy with P9, to be honest, after what has happened to us, but I knew if people are going to be pitting again, we can achieve higher than that, as Marco Ganu tries to go around the outside of us into the chicane, and we've just been shoved off by him. So yeah, I believe he also decided to be on the racing line in qualifying, which meant Big C, the guy who's trying to overtake me now, crashed out. But anyway, Big C goes right round the outside of us, and we almost lose the car there into turn 1, and we have now gone from 8th to 10th. So at this stage I'd lost my rhythm, so I just needed to get back into the rhythm and stick to the back of Big C and see what we could do in the final stages of the race. But lap 21 it is now. You can see quite a queue is forming behind. I think it was H Racing Green and Alberto, and then there was Alex, Marco Ganu, Big C and myself. So this is going to be an insane battle to the end. There's 6 of us up here, I believe, and we are right at the back of the queue, so let's see what we can do. This is 4th place to 10th place, so there are a lot of points up for grabs here. London is out of the running for me, but it isn't for the likes of Big C and Alex and Alberto as well. So having a look at the back of Big C now, trying to get a move done, but we're not able to for the moment. And we're about to head on to lap 23, opening the DRS, staying in standard for the moment, trying to save fuel for the end of the race. And the pace was really good to go from 16th at the start to 10th where I am now, with 4th only a couple of seconds up the road. Definitely is good signs for AOR season 14. It seems like my only issue on this game is qualifying, as it was in 2016 as well, and as it always has been really for myself. But getting really close to the back of Big C, and being at the back of this group is really giving us a lot of dirty air, so it's really hard to stick to the back of these guys, but we've managed to do it throughout a lot of this race, being behind the likes of Alex. So let's see what we can do in these final 5 laps. But can we possibly set up a move into the hairpin? We look to the inside, but Big C defends pretty well there, and I didn't want to do anything silly like I did in AOR season 13. But now heading towards the end of lap 23, and you can see we've lost the RS, and in a battle like this, that is, yeah, really not good news at all, and we're going to have to cope with that for however long it will take to get it back. So still lap 24, well, going on to lap 24, still P10, but you can see the amount of cars in front which we could overtake possibly. At this stage though, I did have 2 warnings, so I had to be careful of my corner cutting, as Shelley is out of the race, so he must have crashed there. But you can see heading into this corner, we took a bit too much curb once again, and that is a 3-second time penalty. But I did know from earlier on in the race, because the engineer told me that the car behind has a time penalty, so I knew I wasn't the only one. But a 3-second time penalty is definitely not going to help our race today. So I thought at this stage the most I could manage was probably around P7, but I was expecting the soft tyres. Like I was expecting people to have to pit again, but they didn't have to, surprisingly, and I thought they might be at risk of a puncture. But you would have seen there Marco Ganu made contact there with Alex at the hairpin, going for a bit of a dive bomb, and his driving today seemed a bit desperate. He was making quite a few silly moves, and yeah, like, you're not supposed to really make that sort of stupid manoeuvre on someone like Alex who's trying to get to London, but you can see that Aresi is in the wall, so he's out of the race, and I believe he was in like P2 at that stage, so disappointment for him. But we were going for a move there on Big C into 130R, but you're never going to make that happen. So you can see Marco Ganu, well, we're now up into P9, so that's an extra point for us at the moment, but with 2 laps to go, who knows what we can achieve here. So let's see what we can do, as the DRS has actually come back, so that's really going to help us here in the last 2 laps. But we're not quite close enough once again to make a move on Big C. I was running 6.6 wings, which I'd say was the perfect aero to have at this track in terms of helping you through the corners and not being too slow on the straights either. And I couldn't quite get close enough to the back of people to make an overtake, but after speaking to some of the people on Twitter, and make sure you guys go and follow me at Ollie Davis 631. But a lot of them said that they were running 6-7 sort of wing levels, so yeah, I definitely could overtake them in the straight if the straight was long enough to do so. But you can see Big C has gone up the inside and made a bit of a dive bomb there on Marco Ganu, and Marco Ganu is definitely going to be pretty angry about that. But you can see me and Big C on the mediums are definitely going to have the pace towards the end of this race compared to the people on the softs, who are definitely going to have worn out tyres. But you can see Marco Ganu's gone for a massive dive bomb and shoves himself and Big C off the track, and we're going to take advantage of that and be in P7, and I believe we're going to stay on board here to the end of the race to see if we can catch Alex, who's got very worn out soft tyres, because he pitted at the same stage as us. But I think at this stage we just got to try and get a 3-second gap to Marco Ganu and Big C if they have any sort of, well, if they don't have any sort of penalty. So let's see what we can do here on the final lap. Just going to go for it and try and pass Alex, but I don't think he had a penalty. So yeah, we'll just try and build up a 3-second gap and see what we can do. But P7 is definitely great after where we've come from in this race. So yeah, the pace is there, the racecraft is there. It's just sorting out the qualifying, as I said in the last race as well, and trying to avoid incidents, because we haven't really had the greatest luck in this series. We had a lag crash in China turn 1 which put me down to 16th, and I had to fight my way up to 6th. In Bahrain we had another lag crash, and here we've been involved in someone else's incident, unfortunately. But without that incident I definitely believe we could have been 4th, maybe even higher, but the top 3 were pretty quick today. But let's wait and see what we can do here. Getting closer to the back of Alex, and maybe we could possibly set up a move into 130R or the chicane. Heading through Spoon, you can see Italben has won the race, and that actually put him to London. Although you'll see that Nico Fury, if you watch the stream, he actually let past, I believe it was F1 Italian Magic, who would be put to London by doing that. So you'll wait and see what the verdict of that is in a minute. But you can see going for a move on Alex, but yeah, that was never really going to happen around the outside of the chicane. But he's actually got a poor run out of the corner here, and we're going to try and get him onto the line, but it's P7 in the end of the race, and I don't believe he had a penalty anyway, and we had a penalty, but the cars behind obviously had a penalty as well, so we are in P7, and that is a good result for me. But all cars have finished the race now, and yeah, 7th, I believe our results have been 6th, 8th and 7th, so it's definitely consistent. But I feel like we could have had consistent top 5 finishes if everything went my way, and if we didn't have bad luck. But about Nico Fury letting past F1 Italian Magic, both of them actually got disqualified from the race. I found that out today, so that has actually put me into P5 in that race, and 7th overall in the standings with 22 points, so I'll definitely take that. And that also put Italben through to London. So the people through to London are Alex, Italben and Alberto, I believe. So it's definitely been a fun thing to participate in. Sorry if you can hear sirens in the background, that's just Bedford. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely been a fun series, and I'm grateful to take part, and I can't wait for next year to do it again, and I can't wait for AOR Season 14. But leave a like if you have enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you very soon. So goodbye.